Pokemon cards have become insanely expensive, though at any point there's always hidden gems in the market, some even being under $5 USD. Though before I reveal these 10 Pokemon cards under $5 in this video, I'm actually gifting this awesome Dusclops illustration rare. Now if I reply to your comment with this Bulbasaur emoji, then well done, this card is being sent your way. And hey, if you are a first time viewer, welcome to the channel. My name's Phil and I cover topics relating to Pokemon's TCG. Feel free to subscribe for future updates. Now, something that's interesting about Pokemon cards that not a lot of people know, not all Pokemon cards start out expensive. Some super expensive cards today were once very cheap. For example, the Mew 151 UPC promo used to be a $3 to $4 card. Right now, the PSA 10 reaches a price well over $200 USD. So believe it or not, there is always hidden cheap gems in the market, and there's some hidden gems right now in the market as well. Though to kick off this list, in the 10th spot, we have the Furret from Journey Together. While the artwork is super obscure, I feel this card is just weird enough to be loved by a big group of people. Now, truthfully, I've mentioned it before. Now, this artwork isn't my favorite art style. It's not exactly an art style that I go, wow, I love these kind of cards, but I do think that there is always a market for these kind of cards, especially later down the line. This does come from Journey Together. Now, if you have been collecting for a while, Journey Together was a very hyped set, and it kind of got met with a little bit of resistance from people. What happened with Journey Together? It was just coming out from that whole Prismatic Evolutions hype. So when Journey Together got announced, people just became obsessed with the set. They were like, oh, you know, trainer Pokemon cards are coming back. Everyone was just super excited to see these cards, and you know, a lot of people over leveraged themselves on Journey Together. But of course, you know, a lot of these illustration rares like the Ferret here have gone down heavily in price. So for that reason, even though I don't think this card is going to become some super iconic card one day, I do think that there will be a market for it as the years go on. Now, in spot number 9, we have the Pidgeotto illustration rare from Obsidian Flames. Now, this is an incredible artwork, and right now it's super affordable. The illustrator Jerky really created an amazing line with the whole Pidgey line, and Jerky as an artist I feel is underrated as well, as they also created the Luminian V from Crown Zenith. Now, this Pidgeotto is from Obsidian Flames, and of course Obsidian Flames is known to have very easy pull rates. Now, even though Obsidian Flames isn't anyone's favorite set from the Scarlet and Violet era, in fact a lot of people would rate it as, you know, some of the bottom tier sets from the era, it did have some kind of hidden gems, and this Pidgeotto is one of them, especially the whole Pidgey line I think is a real highlight from Obsidian Flames. Now, just a little bit of a thing of Pidgey. I don't know if anyone's ever got annoyed from this, but Pidgeotto always felt to me, ever since a kid, that should be the final stage name for the Pidgey line, right? I mean, you got Pidgey, Pidgeot, Pidgeotto. But with Obsidian Flames, with the super easy pull rates, and even though it was a very Charizard heavy theme set, these cards definitely did make an impact for that. And right now, I do think the Pidgeotto is quite fairly priced. Now, don't forget, it is very easy to pull these illustration rares, and it didn't have the most illustration rares from Obsidian Flames. And also, you don't have a huge amount of illustration rares in the set. So for that reason, the price of this one has stayed very low. Now, in spot number 8, we have the Revavroom Special Illustration Rare. That's right, you heard that correctly. An SIR has made this list, believe it or not. And the reason why it's so cheap is because it is Revavroom. And it's also from Obsidian Flames, which has the easiest pull rates of any set. Now, even though this artwork isn't out of this world, I do think it deserves a spot on this list for the simple fact it is an SIR. Now, even though Obsidian Flames had easy pull rates, still to pull a special illustration rare isn't the easiest thing, no matter what set it is. Now, something to know, when cards really rise a lot in value, it usually has to do with the fact that they're unique or cool Pokemon. So like the Mew that I mentioned earlier in the video, that rose because of course it's a Mew. I don't think the Revavroom would rise like that because of course it does not have the fan base. But nonetheless, it is a special illustration rare for under $5. Now also, while speaking about these cheap cards, there also is one card which was once super cheap and now it's become super desired, and it is the Kingdra from Shrouded Fable. And what's really cool is that I've actually teamed up with Collector and we are both giving away this Kingdra in PSA 10. You can enter that giveaway on my channel's Discord. Now today's video is sponsored by the Collector app. The Collector app is the ultimate tool for tracking your collection's value over time. Now, what makes Collector so unique is that not only does it track your collectibles, but it also updates the pricing data within the app. Now, if you do upgrade to the Pro version, one of my favorite features that you get is the Max tab, and this lets you extend pricing data past 1 year, so it's amazing to research cards which were once super affordable and see how their prices travel over the course of a few years. The Pro version also allows you to scan a card with your phone's camera and it will automatically add it to the app. A big thanks to Collector for teaming up with me on the PSA 10 Shrouded Fable Kingdra giveaway. You can check out more details about Collector within the video's description. Now let's get back into the video. Now in number 7, we have the Manaphy from Crown Zenith. Now I feel this card's quite obscure because it's actually quite rare to have a card that's a mythical Pokemon be this cheap. It usually doesn't happen, but this is one of those rare instances. A mythical Pokemon at this price is actually wild. Crown Zenith sealed products have really been rising lately as well, so to see this card at under $5 is, pretty extraordinary considering how many people love Crown Zenith and how in demand that set is. I do think the artwork is cool, but you got to remember as well, these Galarian Gallery cards are pretty easy to pull, okay? So of course, when cards are very easy to pull, that always does reflect on the pricing data, but nonetheless, this is an awesome one to add to any collection. Now, moving on to spot number 6, we have the Hisuian Arcanine from Lost Origin Trainer Galleries. Arcanine is a super loved Pokemon, and even though Trainer Galleries are easier to pull than most cards, it still seems like this is an awesome pickup for under $5. With the whole Legends Arceus game, so many new Hisuian Pokemon were introduced, and of course Arcanine and Growlithe got their Hisuian forms, and there was a lot of hype for these Pokemon on release, and a lot of people really like their designs. Of course, getting a Fire Rock type was really cool, though this card to me looks really unique, and I do think that there will be a market for these Trainer Galleries in the future. We have seen Trainer Gallery cards spike previously, but they all reverted. They weren't able to kind of maintain those price points, though again, this hobby changes rapidly, and of course, when the kind of community jumps in and all decides, hey, this card's going to be expensive, or one card's going to be expensive, it always kind of happens. I'm not saying that it's always going to happen with Trainer Gallery cards, but you kind of just got to go with the sway and the movement of collectibles. Considering that this card looks pretty cool, I do think that there will be a market for it in the future. Now in spot number 5, we have the Diancie Galarian Gallery. I mean, if you want a cheap card, you are looking at it. And this will make any binder look incredible. Given how expensive Crown Zenith is becoming, this again seems like a bargain. One thing that I've always thought about Crown Zenith is that it has such a good opening experience. And I do think the sealed product will continue rising because of that. Because if you have open Crown Zenith, literally, if you just open an ETB, you will pull so many Trainer Gallery cards. It does feel like a set that rewards you for opening it, okay? And I do think it's cool because it was the finale set of Sword and Shield, and it really did feel like that. Like whenever you opened the pack, it was just like, wow, this is amazing. I just keep getting hits. It just felt like that continuously, you'd pull so many hits. And of course, this card's no different. It is very likely that if you pull a lot of Crown Zenith, you've probably pulled this card or a lot of the Trainer Galleries within Crown Zenith. But then again, I do think at the current price point, it is a bit of a steal. Now, in spot number 4, it is Hop's Wooloo from Journey Together. Now, these cozy artworks are always welcome, and this one's definitely an awesome card. I wouldn't think this one would rise too much in price, but nonetheless, it is an awesome card to add to your collection. When making these lists and you're kind of talking about Pokemon cards under $5, one thing that really comes into it, you can get awesome artworks. Now, another reason why I think this card will be interesting is because from Generation 8, when that nostalgia kind of peak comes in, and a lot of the people that got introduced to Hop will really love this card as time goes on. And it is kind of interesting that we got this card in Generation 9. This card feels very much more fitted to Generation 8, but nonetheless, it is awesome to see. Now, moving on to spot number 3, we have the Umbreon Pokeball Pattern Holo. With all the insane hype Master Ball Reverse Holos had, you would have thought that Pokeball Reverse Holos would have performed a little bit better, though it seems the community has had a bit of resistance to these. So a little bit of an interesting thing with Master Ball and, Pokeball Reverse Holos. When Master Ball Reverse Holos first came out in Japanese 151, they were so loved by everyone, dude. Everyone loved the idea of Master Ball Reverse Holos. But for some reason, when they came out in Prismatic Evolutions and they introduced Pokeball Reverse Holos, and the same thing with the Black Bolt and White Flare sets, people have got really turned off from them. It kind of feels like a little bit of a cheap way to get a rarity. Though nonetheless, the fact that it is an Umbreon with a Pokeball pattern will always have a bit of demand, and there always will be a collector market looking for these. Even though these Pokeball patterns don't get huge prices, I do think it is a nice one to add to your collection, and I do think the price is pretty good considering how many people love their evolutions, and even though it isn't a Master Ball Reverse Holo, you are kind of getting the earliest entry point of the rarity for these. Also, I just want to say, if you are a big fan of Pokemon's nostalgia and you love Pokemon games and Pokemon's history, I do have a second channel covering that called Philip's Trick Room. In a previous video, I actually uncover the reason why modern Pokemon games are so outdated. You can find the details in the video description. Now, in spot number 2, it's a bit of an obscure choice here, though this is for the Terastalized Ultra Rare EX cards, and there's a lot of these that are under $5. One thing to know about these cards is that when the Scarlet and Violet era started, collectors were very hyped for these. Like, people got excited when they pulled them, though as the era has continued, people just brush these off, and because there's so many cool illustration rares and special illustration rares, not many people care about these cards that much anymore. But one thing about Pokemon is that eras always recycle, and the Terastalize phenomenon will be remembered with great love one day because it was pretty unique for what it delivered. Even though a lot of people didn't like the whole crystals and the hats and all that, it still was pretty recognizable, and these Terastalize cards definitely have a soft spot for me because I remember when the Scarlet and Violet base set came out, I remember the Gyarados and the Arcanine, and people really thought they were cool. Now, in spot number 1, we have the Kingambit illustration rare. Now, this promo only came in the specific Kingambit box, and with the Greninja promo and the Kingdra promo booming, it seems this one is way under the radar. I mean, Shrouded Fable has been an interesting set, and the promos have been very heavily loved. This one in particular hasn't gotten the best reception, though I get it because the artwork is very different from the Kingdra and the Greninja. Maybe if it was in that similar unique art style, it also would be quite expensive. Though cheap Pokemon cards are always awesome as they are quite underrated. And if you want to know 10 more underrated Pokemon cards, I do cover those in this video here. Within this video, I go over 10 more underrated Pokemon, though these are for all prices without any restrictions. If you love this video, then click the video that's appearing on screen to see it all in its great glory. Appreciate you watching the channel. Feel free to subscribe, and I'll see you on the next video.